I'm Dani Walker. Welcome to the recap of Miss Universe Brazil 2025. If you love the content, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing, checking out memberships, or hitting that super thanks button. It is a huge help for creators like myself. And if you're ever wondering about something that I'm wearing in the episode or products that I'm using, you can find all that info in the description. First, we saw some nice little B-roll of the contestants at the top of the show. I think this is great. It shows a bit of the contestant experience, which I think is also wonderful for prospective contestants, while also simultaneously sharing about the pageant's sponsors, which is always important. I need to be very honest. From a production standpoint, this was a very difficult show for me to watch because all I was thinking about is if I were there and working at this pageant and directing it or stage managing it or just anything, oh my gosh, I would have been screaming at probably several people when my opening artist's music did not work. The music, the mic, all of it. Oh my gosh, the do-over that we had to do. Why does this even exist online? This clip should have been cut. They should have just cut it out and then skipped right to the part where it worked. But, oh, inexcusable, friends. Fired. Somebody needs to be fired. Probably multiple people. Now listen, I know I talk about this a lot in episodes. I do love entertainment, but I love entertainment done well. I like it when it enhances the show. And I do think that actually the voice of this singer is good. That's not the issue. The issue is the staging, the blocking, the timing of the music. Just all of it. Oh my gosh, there were so many things. And then the contestants walking on that runway without their faces being properly lit. Oh my goodness. This show was a test of my patience. I have never seen contestants do a walking introduction like they did in the beginning of this show, and that is usually for good reason. Let me tell you, as a host of live events, for me, I'm used to this. I can walk and I can talk all day, but I have learned that not everyone can. That is a learned skill. Oh my goodness. And the time to learn it should not be at a pageant like this. Oh no, let's never do that. Also, we're wasting a lot of valuable time. Intros should be continuous. For the pacing of this show, you go, you go, you go, you go. Yeah, gosh, if you were gonna be doing this, then we really need two cameras, two sides of the stage. So one girl is doing her little walking intro and then the other one's ready to go. So as soon as she is done, next one, walking, 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 talking. These are basic things. I wish everybody at every pageant, major pageant, would give me their script to review so that I could be like, nope, not this, absolutely not, bad idea, rewrite this part. But then where would we be? We wouldn't get to have these recaps. Now let's talk about our semifinalists in the swimsuit competition. They narrowed things down at this point of the show, and our singer was back, and she was back on the runway with those contestants. Again, why? Our singer and our contestants were out on that runway playing chicken, like dodging each other. Which way do you go? By the way, though, I did really like their swimsuit look. I know it's black, it's simple, it's sexy. It was the look itself I thought was well done. It just looked great on everybody, and I did find a dupe, so check it out. It's in the description. Oh boy, and let me just say, I do not know how to say all of these names. Help. Sao Paulo. So I liked this routine at the beginning. I thought she was doing a great job, but I liked it less and less as we went on. Now, I still liked her overall, but I do want to say, like, things were going down for me if I was a judge in terms of scoring. Like, she's starting high, and I'm like, no, I'm deducting. Because at the end, she's tossing her head up, she's playing with the hair, she's really throwing her little wrap that she's wearing, and for me, that was turning into a Miss Grand International performance. So she was losing points as she went along. Now, our queen, Piauí, she really reminded me of a Trump era queen. There is something about the Trump era queens. First of all, very, very beautiful, usually very beautiful, very tall, right? They all kind of looked like booking and working models, and they looked great. But what I appreciate about the Trump era queens is they were never really perfect. If you look at them, like, yes, they're stunning, but the way that they walk, it's not like, and I stand here, and I look here, and here, and here, and then I scan the judges, then look up at the audience. Like, they're not robotic. There's just this lightness, this freshness to them, and it just makes them look carefree and attractive. Like, you're not attractive as in because of their beauty, like, you're attracted to their vibe that they're putting out there, and she nailed this. The walk was great. And if you look, like, the hairstyling wasn't even perfection, right? Like, it wasn't like there was no hair out of place or anything like that, but she was still so beautiful. And I just really loved this performance. And I hope that she goes to Miss Universe with this same type of energy, because Brazil has placed a lot at Miss Universe, but they haven't won in a while. And I feel like they're one of the countries that's due for a crown. And maybe she can bring it to them. I mean, if she is very well prepared, I feel like she can be impactful with a performance like this. Amazonas, beautiful. I love the waved look of hair. I think it works so well for so many contestants, always very pretty. But I will say I feel like she needed a little bit more time at the end of the runway. It was too quick. I needed more of a moment. Here we go. Mato, I always feel so uncomfortable saying these new names. Mato Grosso do Sol. I hope we're close in any way. I have to say, she was so pretty on stage. I didn't get the impression that she had a ton of energy, and I wish she would have sped up her swim walk just a hair, just a little bit. And in this case, I really do feel, though, that her beauty carried her for this part of the competition. I feel like this really helped her overall score. And I just have to reiterate how distracting our singer was in this portion as well. The near collisions, I was on the edge of my seat for the worst reason. Espiritu Santo, I think she's stunning and beautiful on stage, and a good performance here for a swim. I just thought it looked like she needed to exhale. Ladies, when you don't exhale, you're gonna get really tight neck muscles like this that are gonna make you look nervous and stressed. Minas Gerais? Help, please. I think that she is very confident, very cute for swim. I was really liking her, and I liked her little facial expression at the end of the runway. It was like subtle, not too much. I know this one's way off, but Rio Grande do Sul, the walk, I will say, needed a little bit of work, but for her, she was like the opposite experience for me, where as she was walking in this performance, I started liking her more and more. Specifically at the end, I feel like she had a really strong finish. So if I was scoring and if I was thinking of it like on a scale, it's like she's gaining points throughout this performance for me. Paraná. Really loved her. I felt that she looked so well prepared. She was practiced to the point where she could relax a bit on stage. I just think she looked great. She looked solid. She would have gotten a great score from me. Now, after the semifinalists competed in swim, then our non-finalists actually made a little appearance in what looked to be like these carnival wings, which was actually lovely. I like that they had their moment as well. Now it's time for evening gown, and our singer is back. She's back and she's blocking our contestants yet again. And I felt so sorry for these ladies, because some of them were like, what do I do? Do I look at her? Do I interact with her? Do I ignore her? Like, what's the protocol? There is no protocol. Just, oh gosh, you're hoping for the best at that point. So let me tell you about my standout performances. Piauí, our queen, she did a fantastic job. So she pretty much ignored the singer and then had a little interaction with her in the middle of the runway, like a very quick, like, I see you, now it's my moment. And then when she got to the end of that runway, she didn't overwork anything. She had a really solid pose. She knows the little pivot turn rotation that she likes to do that looks good for her. She looked fantastic. One thing to note here is I would say I really like the front of the evening gown, but I do wish that the back would have had a nude zipper there or a little bit more structure. Honestly, the back measurement was too long for her. That's why you're seeing that bunching, that rippling of the zipper. So ladies, if you're getting a gown fitted, if you want to get rid of that, I mean, there's multiple ways to do it, especially if you have a custom gown, but one of the ways to do it is to make horizontal slits in the back, subtract that fabric, and then reattach the zipper in order to get rid of that bunching and make the gown lay very flat. The gown, in my opinion, not the best gown we've seen. I wasn't really wowed by the gown, but did she look great in it? Yes. But was she confident and she brought on a great performance? Yes. And that's really what matters, and I love that that's what the judges focused on. And this is another reason she's giving me that Trump era, because the Trump era queens weren't necessarily always the ones with like the best gown at their regional, state, or national level. I mean, they always showed up at Miss Universe, but at this level, they weren't always perfect in terms of hair, makeup, gowns, but there was always a lot of potential. Amazonas, I think, looked stunning. This was a beautiful gown choice. The fit, just all of it, really, really beautiful here. I would bet that she would have been on the cusp of that top 5. That's my guess, because I would have scored this performance very well. Mato, it sounds so bad when I hear it out loud. Mato Grosso do Sol. She wore this metallic gown very safe. The gown was beautiful. I love the contouring lines. She had a lot of voluminous hair going on. I wish she would have pulled back one side so we could really appreciate the waterfall detail beading here. It's fine. Now, I do think that the beauty of this gown really, really helped her. Her facial beauty, being well dressed, having great hair and makeup really carried her. Because if we actually pay attention to this performance, I feel though that the gown, and as beautiful as she was, the gown was restrictive of her walk, and ladies, pay attention to that for your pageants. You want an evening gown you can really walk in. I feel like it was restrictive, and if that wasn't the case, then I think that the issue would have been that the walk needed more work. I think that she needs longer steps. They're a lot more beautiful on stage. So I feel like although she is stunning and she did stand out to me, I feel like this was one of those cases where it's like that beauty really helped solidify her next placement in the competition. Espiritu Santo, same thing. I do feel like she needed to exhale a little bit. She looked nervous. She went to place her hand on her hip and she hesitated a little bit with that hand placement. That's usually because of nerves. The other thing I'll say, this is a beautiful gown. I do like those side little cutouts that were also very contouring to her body, but I do feel like the proportions were off. It was really doing a lot to lengthen her torso, and then it shortened her legs, I think, because of how those fringe layers were placed. I really do also think that that waistline just needed to be moved up a little bit more for her to make the proportions more balanced. But I don't feel like you can deny that she was a standout though. She still had a great performance here. Sergipe. Hopefully something close to that. So she had this beautiful gown. She wore the back cowl as a hood. I don't believe that she needed that for this performance, and I feel like with the timing of the camera angles, it just really didn't do much. And since she waited a while to really bring down that hood, I was like, it's whatever. And it kind of messed up her hair in the back too. So ladies, also think about that. Think about, is it really worth doing these reveals, and how will I look after the reveal? Now, regardless of that, great walk, still a great performance, and the evening gown looked beautiful on her. I especially loved the unique extra draping of stones across the bust. Really, really beautiful. Rio Grande do Sul looks great on her in this evening gown. I think that the hair was beautiful. I think that this really solidified her placement in the top 5. I don't feel that the swim performance was quite as strong, but I feel like she was a major standout here, okay? I don't love green gowns, but there was something about this shade of green on her under those lights, the hair styling, it was pulled back. It really showed off her face. I think that's what it was too. That hairstyling especially made you appreciate her face. But the gown was well fitted to her. Everything was well styled. Just such a standout here. Clearly top 5. Paraná. Love this gown, love the styling on her. I like the smile. I like that she took her time. There was just so much to appreciate about this performance. Definitely one of my favorites. And then again, we got to see our non-finalists walk in their gowns, so I love that. Google was really working overtime when it came to this one for the top 5 questions. So let's just give Google a little bit of grace. Google couldn't even catch the entire first question and answer, so I apologize. Sergipe was asked something about her first actions if she were to be Miss Universe Brazil 2025, and she talked about her strength and a moment of powerful hope today. She referenced overcoming and that she wanted to use her influences for other women so that they can believe that they can also get out of darkness. She says that she is here and she wants to be Brazil's spokesperson because together we are stronger. Together we can transform our pains together. Not a bad answer when you kind of get it from Google Translate. I feel like it was her delivery that really hurt her. So I've seen this before where contestants get on stage and the delivery comes across as too harsh, where we're kind of shouting at the audience, and she had tons of hand gestures and she was acting them out. And so I just don't feel like that comes across the best for an onstage question for the top 5. I feel like a much softer approach to answering your onstage questions will be more effective, and I do believe that's what we saw from our winner. Paraná was asked about the rules and how they've changed and how they have allowed her to participate in that night because of how they extended the age eligibility, or I should say removed it. She said that she's super in favor of the new rules because if it were not for those new rules of inclusion, that she would not be on this stage right now. She says that when she returned to World Miss, that I don't think that translation is correct, or maybe she competed at Miss World, I'm not positive, but that she will never forget her first interview where they asked her what is her biggest dream, and she answered to participate in Miss Universe. But when she answered, there was at the time a cutoff of 28 to 29, and she said that dream for her became impossible at that moment, but she still answered, and it never stopped being a dream for her. She believed in this dream, its possibility in reality. She says she's in favor of inclusion because she is a part of that inclusion. So they're asking her, what are your thoughts? And she's like, love it, love the new rules, that's why I'm here today. Rio Grande do Sul. She was asked about influence in her life, and I'm not really sure. Google had a rough time with this one, but she actually gave a very short answer. So this surprised me. She talked about choosing her dream as a little girl from the countryside and watching the pageant on TV with her family, and that now today she's very fulfilled and she believes that Miss Universe transformed her life. Thank you very much. So very, very short answer. Didn't really elaborate on much, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Espiritu Santo, Google was not able to get that question, but we can kind of guess what the question was based on her answer. So she shared about believing that it's a great responsibility, that the title is this responsibility to be a representation, and she wants to be a representation of every woman in the nation because every woman has her strength, and she wants to represent each of them. Now, I don't know how accurate Google was with this one, but I do feel like even listening to the translation that the answer sounded a little bit circular. So almost like she was rambling. I'm not positive. Let me know though your thoughts if you speak Portuguese. Piauí was asked what her social platform would be if she were selected as Miss Universe Brazil. Google was really struggling with this one, so we're gonna have to try to take away the gist. She said that she already has a social project, and it's for those in society that are forgotten by the law and by justice of the country. She said something about women and mothers for the past 30 years and their children out there. She says that she's telling the story of these mothers, and I want to tell this story to Brazil, to the whole world. It's the reality of Brazil, and this platform can help people to understand the gravity so that we can transform the lives of those mothers and their families in visibility that are lost by forgetting, because we all are the beginning of something extraordinary. She said that last part in English, so we know she speaks English, so I would presume she won't need a translator at Miss Universe. Clearly her social project has something to do with women and children and giving them a voice, and that's a common denominator in the Miss Universe organization, to have some sort of social project, initiative, or charitable cause that you work with that benefits women and or children. She seemed to do a really great job answering this, and I like that she sounded very prepared and that she's already been doing work within her country even before getting that crown. Mato Grosso do Sul. They asked her why she should be chosen as the new Miss Universe Brazil, and then she believes judges should choose her as the new Miss Universe Brazil because she is a mother who is 38 years old, and she wants to inspire women to never stop believing in their dreams because your dreams do not age. She did not take home the crown, and this is really important, I think, to think about for any mother competing in the Miss Universe organization. I already talked about this. As soon as they started allowing mothers to compete, divorcees, women above the age of 28, all of that happened. There's only really power in being the first. Once somebody does it, it's not going to be as special after that. So saying that you should pick me because I'm a mother, it's not going to be enough for most of these national pageants anymore. It's not, because it's done. And we had a record number of mothers compete. Something like 13 mothers, I believe, compete this year at Miss Universe. So saying like, I want to be a mother competing at Miss Universe, everybody's like, Okay, it's been done before. It's fine if you're saying that you feel that being a mother is one of the things that actually best qualifies you for the title, but I think you should get more specific. What about being a mother has made you more qualified to be Miss Universe than your single counterpart? Now they announced the top 3, which were Rio Grande do Sul, Piauí, and then Espiritu Santo. So our second runner-up is Espiritu Santo, and our first runner-up was Rio Grande do Sul. Now I said that I wanted to talk a little bit about her answer, so here's what surprised me. Her answer was quite short, and I didn't feel like she really gave an explanation for her example in comparison to what we heard from the other contestants. So what that says to me, though, is that the judges really loved her. They must have really loved her, because I do feel like that first runner-up position could have gone another way. Just kind of listening and watching and putting together the pieces that I can, even though I didn't have a perfect translation. Either way, I think that the women overall still did a great job. There was no really shocking moment to me here in the top 5 where I was like, oh no, oh, you know, like somebody blanked on stage or anything like that. Our winner is Piauí. So congratulations to her. She was beautiful. And I do want to note too, I think this was a really beautiful moment for the crowning. Just the holding of the hands of the top 2 and their shared excitement was really, really beautiful. So I really like that. I like that both the first runner-up and the winner had such a natural quality to them. They didn't look forced or overly rehearsed when they were performing. So really big fan of that. And best of luck to our new winner, because Brazil has quite the reputation at Miss Universe, and I feel like people forget about Brazil when it comes to powerhouse countries, but they have so many placements. So stay tuned. Can't wait to follow her journey. I just hope that she keeps this up and that she doesn't second guess and overthink and get over rehearsed. I feel like that would be the worst thing for her. I feel like the best thing about her is how lively she is, like how lively and carefree. That is really her attractive quality. So she needs to be right in the middle of continuing and maintaining her practice, but not overdoing it. So thank you so much for watching this episode. Let me know what you want to see on the channel next.